In my journey through Indonesia, I've seen that a belief in violence is the exception, not the norm. But the bombers who struck in Bali firmly believed that everyone was a target, civilian or not. I've made my way to the village of Tenggulun in East Java province. It's just one of thousands of similar tiny villages across the archipelago. But this village was the birthplace of two of the Bali bombers, brothers Amrozi and Mukhlas. Celebrated as martyrs in videos and websites, both men were convicted of planning the attacks and both were executed in November 2008. Unlike in the rest of Indonesia, locals here remain sympathetic to the brothers. Now, quite a few months after they were executed, what's the feeling towards them and what they did in the community here, in the villages?
Oh, perasaannya ya kasihan juga, Mbak.
Do people really believe they did it?
Percaya. Karena dia itu jihad itu, Mbak, itu.
I've been given rare permission to meet Ali Fauzi, the youngest brother of the two bombers. Eldest of the brothers, Amrozi, never finished schooling and had a reputation for girls and bikes. The deeply religious Mukhlas took his wayward brother Amrozi under his wing. And when Mukhlas went to Malaysia to train with a militant group, Amrozi followed. Did you know that your brothers were being radicalized and moving towards violent political Islam?
Ya, tahu sebenarnya karena sebetulnya Bang Mukhlas dan Bang Rozi itu hanya merespon aja ketidakadilan pada waktu itu. Rusia, Uni Soviet pada waktu itu menyerang Afghanistan dan kemudian beliau Bang Mukhlas pergi ke sana untuk berjihad, yang berlatih senjata, ya, bom dan lain sebagainya. Kemudian setelah
But when you heard the accusations, was your own reaction, the reaction of your family, that no way, that they could not have been involved, or did you think that they might have done it and we need to defend them?
Ketika itu keluarga tidak percaya, jadi karena bom yang meledak di Bali segitu besar, ya kan, dan saya pikir juga kemampuan orang Indonesia untuk membuat bom tidak sebesar itu.
And do you think that their vision of Islam in Indonesia is something that is on the rise in this country or is being defeated?
Saya pikir untuk masa waktu yang panjang barangkali iya. Seperti yang beliau di dalam video-videonya, kan beliau sebenarnya cita-citanya supaya tertegaknya daulah Islamiyah, khilafah Islamiyah. Saya pikir dan sebagai seorang muslim juga saya meyakini, tapi kan tidak bisa diprediksi kapan, tapi mesti hal itu akan terjadi.
The brothers are buried next to each other within walking distance of the family home. Despite the fact that they admitted to and boasted of their crime, many people in this area still believe they are innocent, and for many, they are even heroes. The reason why the family have built this metal fencing around the two graves is that people were taking the earth from the graves to keep as souvenirs, as somehow in reverence of Mukhlas and Amrozi.
Nah, yang ini Bang Rozi, sementara ini Bang Mukhlas.
And that's Mukhlas's grave there.
Yeah.
Tell me about the funeral itself when you buried Amrozi and Mukhlas. Was it just the family or did many people come?
Jadi ketika hari pemakaman Bang Mukhlas dan Bang Rozi, ini diperkirakan pada waktu itu yang hadir di sini sekitar 20.000 atau lebih dari Surabaya, dari Yogyakarta, Solo dan semua masyarakat pada antusias. Itu pun kalau tidak dibatasi oleh polisi yang pada waktu itu membuat polis lane di jalur masuk ke kampung sini, saya pikir mencapai 40.000.
Ali Fauzi made it clear there's a massive gulf between those who desire a caliphate and the majority faithful here. But even the most radical groups here are nothing like those I've met in Iraq or Afghanistan. and it's difficult to believe Indonesia's culture of tolerance will erode. So much of what I've seen here does reassure me that, despite the political and social chaos, faith is uniquely embracing. In my last few days, my final journey is to meet people who embody that tolerance at work. On Sulawesi Island, a small religious group called the Bugis seem to embody the very definition of religious diversity. The Bugis are Muslims, but they still hold to their animist traditions. Their animist priests are transgender, both men and women at once. They are mediums, able to communicate with the spirits. They are seen as divine, their advice sought by the whole community. Many Muslims might find it hard to understand, but for the Bugis, there is absolutely no contradiction between Islam and their culture and traditions. They embrace both.
The Bugis believe that there are three worlds: the underworld, the middle world of the humans, and the higher world of the gods. And this ceremony is about making an offering in order to feed the gods. And it's in celebration of one of the priests who's been elevated to a higher level and is making this offering to the gods. And they were making the food wrapped in the banana leaf from the rice. And they're now going to head down to the river. And I'm going to accompany them in order to make the offering to the gods.
For the Bugis, acceptance has come only relatively recently. For decades, their priests were persecuted, hunted down and killed.
We're headed down to the river where the actual offering to the gods is going to be made.
It's truly amazing to see how people seem able to embrace both religions at the same time. The Bugis culture, known also as the Bisu tradition, is an integral part of life.
Can you be a good Muslim and follow the Bisu tradition? Do those two things fit?
Ya, selama ini yang saya lihat dengan di mata masyarakat, bisu ini sejalan dengan
bisa karena sudah menjadi tradisi nenek moyang kita ya.
Today's ceremonies seem a million miles away from the world of Abu Bakr Bashir and the Jamaah Islamiyah. Talking to these villagers, I can sense their absolute conviction that faith can't be based on violence or exclusion. In every small village or town I've been to in Indonesia, I've seen that the birth of democracy has brought a resurgence in Islamic identity that for the majority has redefined what it means to be an Indonesian Muslim. Traveling across this vast country, I've seen how Islam has combined with other seemingly opposing ideas, whilst at every point maintaining the nation's tolerance and diversity. It seems to me that the strength of this tolerance has for now stopped the radical Islamists from winning the struggle for the hearts and minds of this, the world's biggest Muslim population.